Alright, hey guys, what's going on? Nobody's in here yet, but I'll wait for some people. I just thought since we're all inside doing nothing, I could do a live stream. Ask me questions, I'll answer my experiences with the E46 CX Racing Turbo Kit and just Turbo E46 stuff. I do have a series of videos with my tuner that I'm going to upload. I just got to edit them. It's a lot of editing, but it's a lot of good information, so I'm excited to do that. I'll wait for people to get in. If people are going to get in, people should be home, so we'll see. What's up? You got 2 people in here. Yeah, ask away. Any questions you have. I got nothing else going on, so I'm going to pull this up so I can read the questions, hopefully, and answer them. What's going on, guys? It's fun stuff, huh? Anybody trapped at home? Okay. I see myself. Yeah, at least like 3 people watching. For Turbo E46, how much can a stock M54 B30 handle? So far there's a couple records. Right now I know of unopened, so like from the factory, the entire engine has been pushed upwards of 700 wheel. Handle is kind of a broad question because reliability and longevity comes into play very quickly. But reliably around 400 is a really good number. You can push 500-600. I know people have pushed past 600 and then gone down a little bit in power to hopefully not blow the engine in the future. But over 700 wheels been made on the M54 B30. Bottom end is good for 600 plus easily. So I had another comment here. Live chat. Okay. What size injector you use on E46? So the stock injectors are 17 pound. I think B30's got 24 pound. Way too small. Probably maxed out around 300 wheel. I used Porsche GT2 injectors, which are something like 627 cc, like somewhere around 62 pound injectors. Those are good for like 600-ish. They're like 70 each. You can get a set on sale for 340. If you can't find a sale, they're like 380 or 400 for 6. And that's from like ECS tuning, so you get a warranty. They're flow tested and stuff. So if you ever do have any issues, you have that warranty there. So yeah, for the M54 stuff, the M54 is very strong. It has a forged crank. The rods are pretty good. The pistons are good. The only problem is, and when I say it can handle that much, keep in mind that's with E85. E85 is a huge factor because if you don't use E85, you're really gonna do meth or something to cool down the engine because it's gonna get really hot. Other than that, for stock compression at least, if you're lowering the compression, you can get away with 93. But E85 is really going to be what's going to save your engine, and that's how you're going to push a lot of power, because the issue I had on my car is I was running 93 and I ran too much boost and the ring lands broke. So the rings expand, touch. You can actually cut the rings if you want to open the engine, keep all stock internals, cut the rings down, get you some more space. A lot of people do that, do E85, keep stock compression, do something like a GT3582 and make 500-600 horsepower. Did you have to strengthen the welds on the collector for the manifold? No, I installed the manifold as is. I didn't have any issues. I sold it, I mean, probably 1,500, 2,000 miles collectively on that manifold. When I sold it, and there were no issues. There was no signs of any cracks. All the welds looked good. I didn't have any warpage or leaks or anything like that. I just used a OEM gasket, so I used an S50 gasket. And then, yeah, it says like 4 people now. I used an OEM gasket. I used an S50 instead of the M54, and it was able to seal pretty well. I also used E90 studs and copper nuts because they were a cheap option to replace. You gonna do another one? Yeah, actually, I got the old one back. Is S50's MLS, the stock head gasket. I think it's a composite. M50 is composite. Or are you talking about the? I'm talking about the gasket for the turbo manifold. All right, let's regroup. I'm getting scatterbrained. So, somebody wants to ask another question. Yeah, for sure. Me too. I'm thinking about actually going iron block. So what I'm gonna do is take an M52, and then put it in my E46 and use MS43 for. So yeah, no, for the head gasket, what I used, if you're wondering, I used stock head gasket. The M54 is MLS, so it's multi-layer steel. M50 is composite, like M50, M52, the iron blocks, but they can be O-ringed and they're actually really good gaskets too. MS43 gang. Yeah, my tuner prefers it. It's actually fairly easy, he was saying, to go iron block. You just swap all the sensors over, I guess, and then you have to figure out something with the coolant hoses, how to adapt it, because it goes from the M54 has like plastic and then clips, whereas the M52 uses like clamps. Yeah, MS43 with the M52 block works fine, yeah. So you can even retain the single vanos. Sorry. What he was saying that we were gonna do is basically you can actually take the MS43 harness and plug it into like the solenoid, and you can control it through the stock ECU, so you don't even have to worry about changing anything majorly. You swap all the sensors over, so like the ICV sensor, you know, the intake manifold will go over. Use like an M50 intake manifold. Exhaust manifold for non-M? What do you mean by that? Like a turbo manifold? But yeah, back to the M52. The M52 swap, I guess, is, yeah, it's fairly, sorry, it's fairly easy, I guess. It's not as hard as I thought it would be. NA, what do you mean by that? There's pretty good headers. You can get eBay ones, if that's what you're asking. eBay ones are okay. They sometimes have fitment issues. I've actually seen some recent dyno results that show that you don't really gain as much as people thought. So you have a 330xi. Ooh, that might make it a little different, considering it's all-wheel drive. Just not sure about that. I have MS45. I was going to swap MS43 since a lot of people are easier to tune, but I can't find a guide. Do you know how? So you would have to get an entire MS43 engine harness. You would have to get the MAF and a handful of sensors. I think you need the MS43 ICV sensor and maybe a couple things. Otherwise, it's pretty much plug and play. You also need MS43 coil packs. I'm not sure though. I think you just need a harness to adapt the coil packs, because I had the clip-in style coil packs, which is what you should have if you're MS43, and if you have those, there's a harness that goes to MS43, but I think you need one specifically for that. Downpipe flange is cooked. Yeah, I don't know if they do make any all-wheel drive ones. I don't know if there's any difference. I don't know if the transmission, because the all-wheel drive system on that, it uses a diff like kind of in the oil pan, and so I don't think that gets in the way of the exhaust manifold at all. I think you can use regular just like eBay headers or something. If you have enough financial resources, what about getting E53 or XI for all-wheel drive traction? I am looking at right now a 335 XI, IX, whatever, all-wheel drive 335 6-speed, which is really rare. It's $3,000. It's a friend's brother has it for sale, and I really want it. I am trying to get in contact with him. I asked for pictures. I haven't got anything back, but that would be a cool daily project. Stupid clean car, and 6-speed all-wheel drive manual N54 is like awesome. I just got here, but what about an M50 swap with an M50 B30 rotating assembly to build a stroker motor? A lot of people do that. That's actually really common. You can really use any iron block. The only difference, I think, would be the head on the M50. So, I mean, yeah, you could do that, and then you would just use M54 B30 sensors and then the harness, and that would be the easiest way to put it in the E46. I might do something like that, but I think I'm going to keep the M52 bottom end until I go and build it. Sorry, there's dogs barking. I want a new exhaust and headers that will work with it. I don't know what headers you could use for all-wheel drive. Sorry, people were just getting home. Is M54 B30 on an M52 iron? I think yes, but it takes some machine work. I'm live streaming. What's up? Have a sip. That's a thing, but it takes some machining on the, I think on the block and the head. People have done it.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm on here.
Oh.
I'm looking at comments on there. How was the store? Is it busy?
They almost didn't let me in.
They didn't let you in at all?
No, they almost
Oh,
didn't.
yeah, no.
Guess what it is?
What?
A mango dragon fruit double blended with extra ice and
Wow.
a splash of peach juice.
It's really good.
You can have the rest. I'm about to go on.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get back to it.
Alex picks his nose.
Yeah, totally. She's funny. No, so yeah, back to it. My tuner actually considered, or not considered, he asked me if I would consider doing that. Maybe in the future. Dual Vanos M52 iron block would be cool. Or dual Vanos M54 iron M54. It's been done. It's a really cool idea. I do like the dual Vanos. Anyway, how about going S54 ITB turbo on M5X? Are you talking about the ITBs? Hello. Are you talking about just the ITBs on it, or the entire S54 engine? Okay, just the ITBs. I've seen it done. It's very expensive. Actually, I don't know the Instagram off the top of my head, but they're making plastic runners to adapt the S54 ITBs onto the M5X. It's really cool. It's not done yet. The reason they're doing plastic is it's going to be the most cost effective. They do make aluminum runners to adapt it, I think, or some company does, but it's like, you know, ridiculously expensive. I've seen it done. There was a guy who did ITBs on an M54B30, completely built NA. He made somewhere around 300, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but it was like a $50,000 build. This is on the forums way long ago. It was a track car that needed to be NA. So it's been done. I think the gains are negligible. It's really cool. I wanted to do ITBs on my E30 just to do it like a 4-cylinder ITB car. I live in Chicago area. Would you be able to help me tune my E46 if I turbo it? So I have a tuner. His name's Jules. I'll give you his information, or I'll put it down in the comments later. I can help you, definitely. If you're not too far, I'll come help you out. But he's going to do the majority of the actual tuning. I can help you like data log and set that up. Something's held for review. Let me show. There's some Russian guides with a video from forever ago. I don't know of that one, but it's been done. Other countries seem to have a lot, but it's not like the forefront. Like, you can't YouTube it and find it. That's what's really hard about these cars, is you search it on YouTube, you don't find any good videos. Yeah, no problem. Let me know. My Instagram's on my page. It's Chi-Town Bimmer. So if you ever need anything, contact me there. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. Best oil pump, they're Euro S51. So there's a lot of different ones. There is, I think it's like EGRE something. So there's an upgraded pump. Basically what it is it's got an upgraded shaft for M54. It's actually going to be in the video. Most of these questions are actually answered in the video. I just felt like live streaming because I'm bored, but I got to edit it. Basically me and my tuner Jules, who has had a turbo E46 since about 2000. He's had his car for 17 years, and it's been turbo for like 12 or 13 years, 12 years or so. So he's got a ton of experience. We're making a video on that. Anyways, they make one. It's got an upgraded shaft, and then it's got 1 bolt through the middle, and then 3 instead of just a nut. That's probably your best bet, but it's like $350 after sending yours in. So his name is Jules Maruti. He's a remote tuner. He's fairly new in the tuning world, so he knows a lot of people. He's really cool. Like I said, we made a video on it. And so you'll probably get more information on the videos. So I'll leave it for that, but I can throw his information down. There's reflections. No, she's trying to mess with me. Okay. Yeah, that's fun here. Sorry. Yeah, that's one oil pump option. People have also done S54 pumps, I think, have adapted it. That's some kind of way. Anyway, so he does remote tuning. He's open, also for consultation. He's thinking of doing, and don't quote me, like don't go to him and say that I said exactly this. You can ask him about it, but basically he does consultation services where you can pay him. He'll basically give you all the information you need and the years of experience he has. He can, if you have a question, he'll give you a reputable and a good answer. But what he does is the consultation service is not free, but if you want to pay for the consultation service, he'll help you set up a turbo kit, he'll give you the information you need, and then he's thinking of doing it this way. He'll take that consultation service as a discount on the tuning price, which is already a really good deal. I really didn't pay that much to get my car tuned, and he was there for me pretty much anytime I needed him, any question I had. Most of the information I have is either from him or browsing forums, other people I know. Yeah, that oil pump option is probably your best bet because it does have an upgraded shaft. One of the problems with the stock oil pump is not only that the nut can come off, but that the shaft is a little, I think, thinner or weaker, and it can snap, and it'll pretty much strip out, and you'll have no oil pressure. I've seen that happen. We talk about in the video too, sometimes that shaft will break, and the oil pump sprocket will ride up the chain and actually hit the crank sprocket and damage that. So people have actually reported damage of crank sprocket with oil pump issues. Past that, I mean, yeah, I do oil pump. I think one whole video is going to be dedicated to M54 issues and solutions. We ended up just talking for I have 4 hours of audio footage of us just back and forth, just giving information about everything that we've learned, and it's going to take forever to edit. But so about the wideband, could it be wired into MS43 for integrated logging, or a team is still working on implementing that? So he had mentioned that we were testing it. I know it can be done. How viable it is, I haven't done it personally, but I know he knows there's a way to do it. The way we were doing it is, and it was we couldn't get it to, we got really close, but basically we used a secondary O2, the wiring for the secondary O2, and we wired my wideband into it, and so on the logs it would show, but it was showing it, the figure was wrong, and then when we went in and tried to change the math to change the figure, it wasn't doing it right. So the logs, we did get AFR, but they weren't ideal AFRs. So yeah, actually, I'll read it aloud. Do you think it would be possible to turbo a stock M54 B25, or would not be strong enough for even low boost? So you can. I would recommend a GT30. A GT35 is a little big for the 2.5. GT30 on 8 to 10 psi, you could probably easily, I know people make between 350, and I've seen people make over 400 on the B25. This is on V0056 or 69. The AFR was on 69, but 69 is really new, and it's really weird. Yeah, 69. 69, I had an issue about halfway through tuning. Whenever I would hit boost, the car would just stop logging. It would just stop. It would just hit a wall and stop. We ended up going back to 56 after that issue, and then I shortly thereafter blew my car up under the fault of my own, not my tuner. But for 69, I was able to get ignition cut 2-step. A couple of other things that's very new development, that's between the developers, and that's very new. I don't think that's public release yet, but it's coming. I mean, it's there. For the wideband stuff, we would go to 69 log with the wideband, then go to 56 and make changes. We were doing he wanted to, and the reason he worked with me so cheap is I was going to be his first full personal tune. So basically my car was going to act as a 93 bass tune, so that if he wanted to tune somebody else, he could basically take that, put it on their car, and tweak it a little bit. ECU options for M52 TUB, stock ECU, it's good. So MS42 is almost just as capable as MS43. It can be tuned factory. You don't have to do anything. There's no tricks or anything. You really can just download tunes. So if you get a tuner, if you get somebody like Jules, he'll walk you through the process of all the programs. He'll teach you how to flash, data log, and then basically from there you would buy a USB to OBD2. It's $20, so that your computer can communicate with the ECU. And flash and read and stuff like that, but the stock ECU is really good for that. DME is what it's called. Ever heard of M54 needing extra maintenance like rod bearings, chain after 200K plus miles? Yes, I mean that's a lot of miles. I mean, considering that a lot of people actually need that on most engines before 200K. I've heard it. Bearings, usually not, bearings are usually good unless something else is going on. I mean, I've seen them last 300, 400,000 miles. I think that timing chain service should be done more than it is. It's not like necessary, but one of the problems with the oil pump is not necessarily only the oil pump being weak. And we, like I said, we talk about it because he's had his car since almost new. So they were having issues back then. It's not because the engine is aged, but one of the issues that can kind of aid in the oil pump problem as a whole is the chain acts almost as a tensioner. And sometimes what happens is over time it slacks, and that leaves a lot of slack in the chain, and so it adds more vibration, it adds more stress, and it can make it snap easier. I know what people do is one option, people actually add tensioners, because the original M50, I think, non-Vanos got a extra tensioner there. People actually modify, and you got to modify the block a little bit, but they'll actually add another tensioner there to try and aid with that. I know people will like add a tensioner to the extra oil pump, and then they'll do a ATI dampener because the crank has vibration issues. They'll do a dampener and then like valve springs, and you can rev it to like $8,000. We talk about that too. Rob, one of our friends, has a supercharged M54B30. He's safe to rev over $8,000 because he's done valve springs, he's had some head work done, oil pump. I mean, everything's serviced, and he's got a supercharger. 04 BMW ECU, isn't that different from MS43? Is it better to swap MS43 harness and etc. or what? Yeah, so you have MS45. There is new developments. MS45 you used to have to pay to tune. It's still not as good as MS43. It's got some cool features, like the stock O2 sensors or widebands, which is kind of cool, I believe. But in the long run, you're going to have the best bet switching to MS43 because most people don't tune MS45. It really is a pain, and it's really quite new. It's not as developed, I should say. So MS43 harness is probably your best bet, especially because, I mean, one of the biggest part of swapping that is like finding a MAF, finding whatever. But if you're already turboing it, you might as well get like so my recommendation for MAF, I did Audi RS4, but you can do the HPX, the PMAS HPX, which is an aftermarket MAF, and you'd wire it in anyway. So, you know, you're already cutting out the thing of finding a MAF. You're already changing the MAF from the stock setup. So you just get a harness. I would do everything at once. But I mean, you can do things in steps and whatever. MS43 is really capable. It's really cool because you can do full turbo tunes for, you know, under $500, including the, you know, the stock DME, which is already in the car. So, you know, you spend $20, and all the programs are free, which is really nice. So, like, if you want more information that I can't tell you right now, sorry about the dogs, but go to it's ms4x.net. That's where you'll get the MS4X flasher. That's how you can flash your car. It'll actually tell you how to set everything up. It'll tell you a lot of information. At first, it's a little confusing, so that's why having a tuner or get somebody to consult is really nice because then it becomes easy. I'm not like a huge computer guy. Like, I just am like not in that area. Like, I just haven't had much experience with it. So when I started getting into tuning, it was very confusing. That's why I didn't make many videos going through the process, is because it was a lot of me sitting there for like an hour while he explained it and me downloading stuff. And like, you know, the recording aspect, I had a crappy phone, so like it just was not on my mind at the time. I was really focused on just trying to get it done. Unfortunately, I wish I did record the progress. That would have been really cool, but I think I've learned so much from it that I can go back and help people, and hopefully this next time around I can record everything because it won't be so stressful in being a process of actually learning how to flash and read and tune and make sure I don't blow my car up and stuff like that, which I ended up blowing it up anyway, so I guess it didn't matter. Yeah, if you have any questions, just ask. My foot's like falling asleep. I've been literally like, I haven't been working because of this virus. Can't even say it. I'll get demonetized if I say it. I put it in one title once and it literally got instantly demonetized. Money's not a big deal, but when times are hard, the YouTube money's kind of nice. I make like $40 a month or something. It's kind of funny. Here, you can have the rest. It's kind of giving me heartburn.
No, I'm leaving.
You're leaving? Where are you going?
Bike ride.
Oh, bike ride? It's nice out. She's not having it. Here, I'll answer your question in a minute. Oh, look at this thing. Look at this rat.
Hey.
No, I love her.
Don't talk about her like that. I hung the dog.
No, can you leave the door open, please? You suck. Okay, how much boost do you think an M54 engine will hold with cosmetic gasket, I think you mean cosmetic, and ARP stud? So actually, M54, and like I'll keep saying it, I feel like a broken record, but we do talk about head studs and head gaskets. So ARP does not technically make a head stud for M54. You can get M50 studs, but Racewear is probably your best bet if you want to just get a head stud and put it in. It's cheap. I think it's cheaper than ARP. The only ARP option I know of is people use VQ. I gotta open the door, but they use VQ. I think main studs or head studs, and they fit into the M54 block. That is new, so it's not really proven as much. Give me one moment. What's it? Go next. So like the cheapest ideal setup I think would be Racewear head studs, and honestly the stock head gasket's pretty good because it's multi-layer steel. The only reason you'd want to upgrade the head gasket is if you wanted to go with like a cut ring gasket, which is cool. I believe in the stock gasket because it can hold a lot of boost. It's nice to be able to blow the head gasket because I'd rather blow a head gasket than have too much pressure and blow something else up. It really is picking and choosing what you want to blow up. So I would do stock gasket and Racewear studs. You can do like a cut ring gasket. It'll help. How much boost? So boost is relative, really. Depends on what turbo. Let's say GT3582, which is what comes in the CX Racing kit. That's a very common turbo, and it's a very good turbo. I've seen, I mean, like I said, people have made 700 wheel, which is, and on that same turbo, which is near, it's upper 20s, so like 25 PSI plus. So it can hold that. That's for sure. I've seen it done unopened. So, I mean, you're talking about stock head studs and stock head gasket has held 25 PSI. One of the things you have to be careful for is you don't know conditions of engines. You can't really test. I mean, I'm sure there's some way to test aluminum, but you can't really test if it's been overheated before. You just have word of mouth. I mean, if you have a 140,000 mile engine, you don't know. Most of the time, the condition of the engine isn't as important, but because it's an all aluminum engine, the biggest problem you run into with high boost and problems, it's not necessarily internals, but you can pull the strip the heads, the studs, and so what it'll do is stretch the studs and the head will lift. So I had that issue actually, but my engine had been previously taken apart. It was reusing, so it was stock head gasket, stock studs, but it had been opened. My engine was originally M54 B25. The previous owner put B30 internals and then put it back together. So it's technically not unopened, but nothing was changed from stock. But I had head lift issues, and that's one issue. So you want, the most important thing is good head studs. The problem is, the problem with the head lift is because it's an aluminum block, so the studs will actually kind of, you can strip the block, the studs will strip the block, or you can stretch the studs. There's a variety of solutions. Obviously, head studs and gasket will keep it down. The clamping force is purely from the studs, though. So keep that in mind. The head gasket is just keeping the pressure from going outward, more or less. The studs are keeping it down. And the biggest problem is head lift. So that's why iron block is a lot easier. You don't have to worry about it. I'm kind of tangenting, like just going all over. But the problem with that is you don't know the condition of the aluminum. And that can lead to issues because if the aluminum has been overheated, it becomes weaker, it becomes easier to stretch, becomes easier to lift. The head could be warped, the head could cause issues you might not know. Really just make sure the car's good at NA and throw like Racewear studs in it, and you could probably push like 20 PSI. Solutions for subframe. So do you mean like power or stock? So M3 subframe is bolt-in, but you need the entire, you need trailing arms, subframe, diff, drive shaft solution. So you need custom drive shaft, or you need to run a 6-speed. And then obviously reinforce the subframe mounting points. That's very important. I'm going to be doing that on my car. because they do use really weak metal, and it does tear through and rust and break apart. The stock medium case diff in the E46s have been known to hold good power, but from like if you're trying to drag race, it's gonna explode. If you roll race or drift is a little harsher, but like a street car, roll race car, you might get away with like 400 or 500 horsepower on the stock medium case diff. I think the first thing to go is gonna be axles, but you can go, so B25 axles I think are smaller than B30 axles. B30 car 330s, I should say 330s have bigger trailing arm pocket, or trailing arms in general, or just the pockets. Yeah, you can do time certs. That's another thing. So the aluminum block, you can do that. I know you would probably know. What's up, Orca Speed? So you would know Maverick. He's on his 3rd teardown of his engine. He did time certs, I'm pretty sure. But that's the thing with aluminum, is metal doesn't forget, and aluminum is really weak. So it's not so much harder, it's just stressful. You know, it's very easy to just throw head studs in an iron block and be good. The aluminum block is a little more stressful because even installing them can be it's time consuming because you really have to take your time. It's really easy to strip those out. Would you turbo the M54, save and swap S62 into the E46? Definitely M54. I really liked the power it made. It's really easy, really, I mean, I'm going to say cheap. When I say cheap, it's because I got like crackhead deals, my tuner calls it. But fortunately, and it sounds weird because you always feel like you're never the person that gets the good deals till you get the good deals. And that's how I always felt. Like, I never won anything. I was just, like, ordinary. Like, and it sounds weird to say it like that. But, like, you always think, like, oh, I'm going to have to buy it new. Or I'm not going to be able to turbo a car for that price. Or and then I just started getting deals. And just have money aside. Take your time. You can do it fairly cheap. You can do it way cheaper than you could most other cars. I mean, you know, if you knock out tuning and ECU, you can knock that out for under $300 because the tuning's free, or the flashing's free, the ECU's free. It's all in the car, so there's no time to be lost there. Just find a tuner. You know, injectors. You really need injectors and pump. Besides that, the lines are good. The lines can handle a bigger pump. In 330s at least, the lines can handle E85. The fuel rail is good. It can fit many injectors. It's not going to have any flow or pressure issues. The actual stock fuel pump's pretty good. It can handle like 400 wheel. On 93, you can't run E85 though. Stock injectors need to be replaced, absolutely. Then you have MAF, and then like a turbo kit. So like, you know, you spend $2,000 to $3,000 on the actual hard parts. So like intercooler piping, intercooler turbo manifold, stuff like that. You can easily end up under $3,000, around $4,000. I ended up doing it for like under $2,000, which was crazy because I got a full CX racing kit for $300, and then I kind of sourced better parts from that. One thing I would upgrade is the wastegate. That was probably the one of the biggest issues I had, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons my car blew up, is because I had a 8-pound spring, and I think I was peaking 14 pounds at one point, so a bit much. And that's not a problem for the engine per se, but for my tuner, it wasn't like I had no boost controller. So basically, I'd send him a log, he would tune it. I'd send him another log, and it would have different boost figures. The airflow would be different. You know what I mean? So you're constantly tuning different things. You know, all it took was one really good pull on 93 with more boost that it wasn't, you know, properly tuned for. So, I mean, that was my fault. I was just being lazy. Affordable cam option, M54 stock is good enough, or look for ZHP. Schrick is expensive. Yes, Schrick is expensive. So cam options, you're really limited to stock and then like Schricks. What you can do is get ZHPs. They're a little better. They're really the best bang for your buck. They're as far as I would go unless you're going with like a huge turbo. So like a GT35 with ZHP cams is great for like 500-600 horsepower. I know what a lot of people do is look at the ZHP cams and they'll get them reground. You can get them a little bigger, and that'll really help spool the GT35. Don't quote me on that. I don't even know how much that would cost. I think you can get away with ZHP cams for like $200-300. If you go to a junkyard, you might find a ZHP, which is kind of rare, but somebody just found it like yesterday at my tuner's local junkyard and got some cams. Probably get away between $150 and $300 for the cams. and I think regrinding them is like between $400 and $500. So I mean, it's like 900, which sounds rough. Cams are almost one of the last things I would do, unless you're like shooting for huge power, because you know, I'd work on getting proper fueling and all that other stuff first. But if you're already turbo and you're running around and you want to upgrade the cams, I think a good option is definitely a ZHP. If you're B25, you can put B30 cams in. If you're B25, you can put ZHP cams in actually too. But if you're looking for a smaller upgrade, B25s can actually make use of the B30 cams. I know if you're M52 TU, so like B28 and B25, you can use S52. I think you can use the S52 intake cam or something, and that's a good upgrade as well. Don't quote me on that. You could look more into that. I'm sure there's some forums on it. But as far as I know, that's the idea I have on that. I didn't look too much into cams. I was just more so looking at more boost for more power. But definitely cams are really cool because they can change your power band quite a bit. S52 is the same as M54 intake cam, so it might be the exhaust cam or something like that. I think the only reason people use S52 on the M52 is B30 cams don't fit for some reason. And crank is the same. Yeah, crank is it's got the same crank. It's got a forged crank, but they do have vibration issues. I'm a little rusty. It's a lot of information, so if I don't get something like exactly right, that's my bad. It's been a while. It's a hodgepodge of Lego pieces. BMW engines, at least. You can interchange so many things. Yeah, so I have to grind on the Vanos wheel on a cam for fitting into M50. I have heard that. I remember when I had my E46, I was looking into it, and people would modify the B30 cams to fit, or B30, the Vanos wheel, yeah. They would do the like B30 intake cam or exhaust cam or something like that. It's really nice out, by the way. It's like 70 degrees in Illinois, so hopefully you're somehow enjoying the weather if you're stuck inside. Got like 10 people watching. Yeah, hopefully my videos help. Hopefully this helps. I mean, the whole reason I started my channel, I'm just talking because just fill some time while waiting for people to ask questions. But one of the biggest reasons I made my channel is that I was having issues figuring this stuff out, and I was like, why not make a YouTube channel? People will watch, and people do watch, so it worked. Where can I find a DISA valve delete kit? I searched everywhere and I can't find it. I'll go on Facebook right now. I know there's a delete kit that's sold. I don't know a website, but let me search really quick. Because I know a guy who makes them. He makes an aluminum delete kit. So give me like 2 seconds. Boosted 54. No, M54. If you have any questions, M54 Boosted Builds is actually a really good Facebook group. I use these Facebook groups, but I know a lot of them pretty well now. No promises. I'll look. So I didn't deal with the DISA delete. DISA's not as helpful. DISA's actually really good for NA, but for boost, it's not as good. I know a friend has one. I went with M50 intake manifold, which doesn't have DISA at all, so I didn't even have to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, in this, they're talking about certain boost levels. People have complained about uneven boost per cylinder. But you can use it. There's my tuner commenting. M50 Manny versus M54 Manny with DISA delete. Yeah, I mean, the last part of the M54 manifold being useful is the DISA. So if you are deleting it, you might as well go M50. I'll post up later on, like, I have like a community page where I can make posts. If I find the link, I'll post it up. I don't feel like looking too hard for it. I can't find it. I'll ask my tuner or somebody else where they last saw it. I have M54B30 ZHP. Is it possible to swap the internals into an iron block? Yes, that's done a lot. People do that a ton, insanely often. People mostly do it, so they'll take like E46 and they'll put B30 internals. So the only difference, you have a ZHP. The only difference between like my engine and yours is cams. The crank, pistons, rods, internals are all the same. Cams are the only difference on the ZHP. So really just look up M54B30 internal swap into M50, M52. Or people do look up M50B30 stroker or whatever, and that should come up. I mean, I can look it up right now. 50B30. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it. Just look at, it's mostly in like E36 stuff. Like I've seen there's actually a build on YouTube by Mike Lake. It looks like M50B30 engine build part 1. Really, it's just putting the same internals back in. This stuff should fit up pretty well. People basically just take an M54. They'll take just the crank, rods, and pistons, and then put it all into an M50 or M52 with a little bit of differences. Where should I run an oil cooler for M54 turbo? I have an M3 bumper. Should I put it in the fog light hole? That'd be cool. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll put it, or not a lot of people, sorry, Mike Dodge and a handful of other people have done it where you're speaking of. They'll put it kind of near the wheel. Like if there's a fog lights, they'll put it like right there. That's a good oil cooler location. I put it, and I think another good location is where the grills are. I put it right there. If I were to put my hood on, that's where it would have set. That way I could run the line straight to the oil filter housing, because I had an oil filter housing adapter. I have since sold it, but that's what I was using to cool the oil. One thing I would recommend is get a, and it'll come, you'll be able to do it, but get oil temperature sensor, and then also a oil cooler, or an oil thermostat housing, or a thermostat. It'll run in line with the lines. Basically what it'll do is it'll close it until your car gets hot, and then it'll turn on, because you don't want too cool of oil either. If your oil's too cool, it can have, it could have negative effects against the engine. You want your oil at a specific temperature. You do want to keep it cooler than, it's extremely hot, but you want to keep it within a threshold. So you don't want to go too cool, so definitely keeping the temperature up is good. If I'm tearing into the B30, what's a must do? I'm looking to push 500 wheel horsepower reliably. Honestly, the internals are pretty good. Must do's would be maintenance. I hate hearing that, and I hate saying it. Just make sure you have no leaks. Leaks are not going to rob power necessarily, but it's just not good in the long run. So make sure you don't have any oil leaks. Make sure you have no like intake leaks or anything. That's very important. Do a compression test, make sure your compression's good. Do a leak down test. Just make sure the engine's healthy. Past that, you can do studs, maybe a new head gasket. If it's not torn apart, it's healthy, and it's not leaking or consuming much oil or coolant, I wouldn't touch it. I would just boost it. What oil? I've been using Motul XS 8100 5W40. Should go thicker stock as a rock. Should go thicker stock as a rock. That's pretty good. I mean, I used 5W30 when I was NA, and then when I went turbo, I ended up going with like, what I use? I think I used Rotella T40 or something like that, something thick, diesel oil. 5W40. So I don't know. I mean, it's really preference at that point. Your car has a lot of miles. It's not gonna make a huge difference. The most difference you're gonna see is really oil consumption. If you're consuming a lot of oil, you can test different oils. Nothing extreme. Don't go from like 5W40 to like Rotella T40 or whatever. I don't know. But test it. Some oils I've heard, if they're a little thicker, you have 200K miles, so your oil rings are a little worn down. So you might have you might be leaking. Not leaking, you might have greater oil consumption because of that. So you could go thicker to combat that, but if you're not having oil consumption issues, I wouldn't really change the oil. I would just keep like a simple 5W40, 5W30 for NA. But yeah, I know a lot of people here want to go turbo. If you're going turbo, I would do something a lot thicker. I have seen this problem firsthand. So the person with the turbo Camaro, he put new oil in. It was a new build, and it wasn't like a problem, but like maybe 100, 200 miles in, he had like 5W, whatever stock oil was, and dude, it was the viscosity of it was gone. It was like so thin because it got so hot and it just destroyed the oil. When he would drive, it would be extremely thin. So he went thicker, and that resolved that issue. So CX Racing is known to have boost creep for their manifold. What's your take on it? My take and my tuner's take is it's consistent. So it's not, when you hear boost creep, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not good, but it's not inconsistent usually. Usually you may be making 8 pounds, you might make 9. You can tune for that. That's the thing. As long as you're tuning for it and it's consistent, it's pretty good. I didn't have any boost creep issues. I had boost creep issues because my wastegate just let all the... I mean, I do not blame the manifold at all for an 8-pound spring making 14 pounds. That's just wouldn't happen. I've never heard of it being like a super big problem. I know I've heard of it because the wastegate location is a little further. It's just in a weird spot. I didn't have any serious issues. I can't speak solely to it, but my tuner's take on it is you can tune for it. So as long as it's in the safe range of boost, you're fine. I mean, for the manifold, the price of it, the only way you're getting better is spending $200 to $600 more on a manifold. So, you know, would you rather tune for it and run a little more boost, or would you rather buy a better manifold? Log manifolds are good and they're really cheap, but you pretty much have to run a bottom mount for that, and then you have to get like a motor mount arm and stuff. It's really cheap, but I mean it's the difference between running like a top mount and a bottom mount. Bottom mount you're gonna be limited on turbo sizes, but if you're running a GT35, it's really not gonna be an issue. I got CX Racing downpipe kit, and it comes with 2.5 inches. Is there enough space for 3-inch? People do 3-inch downpipes and 3-inch exhausts. If you can make it fit, 3-inch should fit. I haven't had an issue. My tuner, I think, did a 3-inch, but he was a 3-inch on a bottom mount turbo. So, any experience with using upper engine cleaner in the cylinder by removing plugs, pouring some in, and letting it sit overnight, and try and free up the rings? Nathan BMW Garage says it might work. Yeah, I mean, it could work. I would try it. You're not going to do anything bad. If somebody's tested it, I haven't tested it, so I believe somebody who tested it over myself. I do think it's a good idea. I've heard of that working. I know... I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. I've been subscribed to him before. I had a YouTube, but he's around the same channel size. He's doing a bottom mount turbo as well. Or he's doing it... a turbo as well for his M54. He had compression issues when he bought it. He ended up doing seafoam and something else, I think, and it ended up bringing the compression numbers up to like normal. So he was able to save that engine without tearing it apart. Top or bottom mount preference for M54? It really depends. Bottom mount is better. It's better for heat. The heat's lower center of gravity, which is not a huge deal, but it definitely helps with that. Definitely heat. You're keeping the heat lower and towards, you're going to be scooping that air down and towards the exhaust. When you have it up, you have it near the valve cover. Usually, eventually you might have valve cover issues. It is a plastic valve cover. You do have a big hot turbo right there. It's going to heat and cool the plastic. It might crack eventually. That's why people do the M56 aluminum valve cover. So you might have more issues. I had a coil pack go bad, but it wasn't near the turbo, so I don't consider that near there. I know people have claimed maybe that the coil packs get too hot. I've never seen that firsthand. But top mount has its advantages. The main advantage is you can run like a CX Racing manifold, and you will make more power through that manifold. The log manifolds for the bottom mounts, you can get a tubular bottom mount manifold, but they're very expensive from what I've seen. Really, you're limited to flow at a certain point, like around 400 horsepower, which is not bad, but the top mount allows for the CX Racing kit, which flows really well, and then you can run a bigger turbo than a GT35. I think you're limited to almost a GT40 on a bottom mount. The bottom mount's definitely going to be better option. I think the top mount is easier to access and it looks cooler, so I liked that. Plus there's a few different things. It really comes down to preference. If you just want like a 400 horsepower setup and you want it kind of discreet, bottom mount's cool, but I don't like coming from the bottom. I have a driveway. I don't have a lift or anything. I hate going from the bottom. So the top mount was nice because I was able to have everything just up top, super accessible. And then when I was ready to pull the engine, I didn't have to do anything. I just took the turbo off and pulled it like that. CX Racing turbo manifold, the same as the DIY PSI one. I know of PSI, I think, having a turbo manifold. DIY PSI. DIY PSI. Let me look. Well, I can't get the page to load for some reason. None of their pages are working on DIYPSI.net. I can't tell you. CX Racing makes their own stuff. Unless DIY PSI is selling CX Racing stuff, it's not the same. Their page is not loading whatsoever. It's not my computer because I was just able to load Facebook. DIY PSI. I don't know much about it, but I think I've heard of it. It's the cheaper like eBay one, right? It's something like 100 or 200. I don't know. I can't find anything specific on it. M54. Okay, yeah, it's that like $170 one, right? Possibly. I see DNA motoring. Not the same though. Similar. Probably similar design. One thing with the bottom mount, I mean, this is mostly talking about log manifolds, but log manifolds are like $100, so it is cheaper to go to bottom mount. The top mount doesn't really have a cheap manifold like that. You can people have taken the bottom mount, flipped it, and then made an adapter to fit it, but that's ugly and it flows like crap. Did you send a link? Oh, it's 400. I can't personally find. I'm looking up DIY PSI, and the website's coming up saying it's not. Turbo kit. It's not showing up. So yeah, I mean, people talk about it. I can't specifically find it though. Like I said, it's probably different. I'm sure that's another option. M56 intake manifold deletes the CCV. M50 or M56? I don't know about M56. The M50 manifold will delete the CCV though. What plugs to use for best NA performance, and how about for turbo? Should you use N54 plugs or something else? So I used, and they're pretty cheap, I used copper plugs. They're best bang for buck, but they're going to be replaced about as often as an oil change. It sounds bad except for the fact that I bought 8 for $12 on Amazon. One of my older videos, it's like BKR7E something or another, don't quote me. It's in my Turbo E46 Makes Boost video. It's in the very beginning. That's what I use. They're like $1 something each. Like $1.70 maybe less. I got them at a deal, and I was able to buy a bunch for really cheap. Like I said, they go quick, but they're probably the best plug you're gonna get. Valve cover. Okay, so valve cover, yes. It's got a internal CCV. If I'm saying that right, yeah. It's got an internal in the valve cover. So it will delete it, but it'll still have it. It'll delete the stock one. How much hours do you think you put in the car? That's kind of hard to say, but because I did a manual swap. I did an engine swap with the stock engine, but you know, I took the auto trans out. I took the engine trans and then put it in. I couldn't tell you exactly. I mean, it was the course of a few months that I had done it, but I was really lazy. It didn't take long. I'm sure I could have done it within a couple weeks for sure, but it was a lot of acquiring parts, waiting on parts, and then going out and just chipping away. I probably spent a couple hours a day, a couple days a week, you know, maybe three to four on like a good week for like 4 months. So I mean, you can try and do the math on that. I'm sure you could bang it out in 2 weeks if you really tried and that's not working. That's working like a 50, 60 hour weekly job and having other responsibilities. You could probably chip away over the course of 2 weeks for turboing it. For engine swap, trans swap, it might take a little longer. What can I use to tune an MS43? So go to ms4x.net. They'll have all the information. If you're talking about computers, I use a Lenovo T430S. It's a ThinkPad. I got it on Amazon for $200. It's got good specs for tuning. No, you don't necessarily need anything insane. So, no, it's. So I'll finish this up. Get a computer. Then you need an OBD2 to USB adapter connector. It's like a USB OBD2. It's like $20 on Amazon. And then really plug that in. Go to ms4x.net. Download MS4X Flasher. Then download ROM Raider. And then go to the forums for ROM Raider. And they'll kind of show you how to do it. I do want to make a whole series on actually tuning the car. I have to get my car back to do a hands-on thing. I was going to do, a friend of mine turboed his car, but he is getting called back to Brazil, so we were going to go a couple days ago and do a ZF trans swap, and then I was going to break down his turbo build, and then I was going to show him tuning it and stuff, but he might get called back to Brazil, so he ended up partying the car out. All the parts are gone within like a week. It's insane. ROM Raider versus Tuner Pro. So I use ROM Raider for 56 and I use Tuner Pro for 69. So I mean, not necessarily bad. Tuner Pro shows a lot. It shows a ton of stuff. There were like hundreds of things shown. Really depends. My tuner is more accustomed to ROM Raider. Tuner Pro is good as well. Really depends. I think 56 ROM Raider is the most developed. But Tuner Pro offers some more stuff that you might not get if you are going for 69. In the coming months, I'm sure Tuner Pro will have its place a lot better. I think Tuner Pro is the only way we could get a wideband O2 to show up. So we used Tuner Pro in 69 to get the wideband to actually show a reading on my computer. Sorry, I know you have talked about the injectors you use. I didn't catch the name and CC size. So look up Porsche GT2 injectors. I'll pull them up right here. They're Bosch. They're 627 cc. So if you look Porsche GT2 injectors, you'll see them on like something like ECS tuning. You'll have to look. I'll pull up the actual part number right now, and I'll post in the comments. So they're fuel. It's Porsche fuel injector Bosch. And then the part number, I'll actually just copy it. They're like 80 each from FCP Euro, but they do have deals. So it's Bosch 0280158123. Copy link. It won't let me copy. Let me just type it in. 0280158123. My tuner loves these. They do really well. They're really advanced, and for the price, they're really good. So you're getting a pretty good injector for a pretty good price. So that's the part number. Is there M50 manifold to M50 for adapter plate? Because I see the shape is different. Would that affect the flow? It doesn't affect the flow. Actually, it almost acts as a spacer, but I haven't seen anything. Yes, there is. If you go to Seams Legit Garage, I'll just throw the link down. Legitgarage.com. That's my friend Mike Dodge. He runs that. So he has a ton of cool stuff, actually. He really tries to, push it. So go to E46 parts. It's the link, but it is. So he just came out with the M50 fuel rail adapter kit. Really, it's just some things. But the M50, he sells things separate now. But the entire kit's $100. It comes with the adapter plate, comes with ICV plugs. You can use it for either the 2.5 or the 3.0. And then I think you can include different things. It has a write-up. It has all the information you need. It's a super good link. So if you really want to do M50 stuff, this is probably the best bet. Yeah. Let me look. And that's, so you only need the adapter plate if you're M54. If you're M52, you can bolt your throttle body. The reason you need to retain M54 throttle body. But the bolt pattern's different. I would use a B30 one. But yeah, you'd run M50 ICV hosing, and then you'd run a M54 ICV. You need to thread your ICV, sorry. Yeah, ICV. Idle control valve. Yeah. Wait. Oh, ICV, CCV. Oh, I'm mixing. Yeah, ICV. So, it was M50. I used maximum PSI with the intake boot. You'd use an M50 intake boot, and then you use M50 ICV hosing, M54 ICV, and then you would use the, you would actually, to take the, temperature sensor in the manifold, you need to take an M51 and thread it. Or, sorry, M54. It's a plastic, like push-in, I think. And you get it threaded. You can buy them new threaded from like Bimmer World, and then it'll plug and play with that. Like I said, it has everything you need here. You can get the fuel rail. You don't need it. You can use the stock fuel rail. You cut the where it mounts, because it's gonna, instead of mounting this way, it's gonna mount this way. So you need to cut the tabs off so it'll fit, and then just use whatever injectors you're gonna use. You need an ICV fitting. You can get a billet one. They're like $40. And then you can get injector spacers. You don't necessarily need them. If you run the Porsche injectors, you can literally do Porsche injectors, M50 intake manifold, and it'll all bolt up and plug in no problem. That's what I did, and I didn't have to adapt or change anything. Yeah, be careful, many fork Porsche ones. I agree. Don't go off eBay. I know people have claimed that they do okay. I don't think necessarily they're fake. Every injector isn't, they're not able to make every injector like perfect. So I think what people are doing is they'll take the bin of whatever injectors are crap, so they look real and they might be real, but they might not flow the best. They might not pass the leak down test. I know there are fake ones, but I would just buy it off a reputable site. So like ECS Tunings, where I got mine, FCP Euro. It's a little more expensive, and it's kind of, it might shy you away because it's a little more expensive, but it's totally worth it because you get a warranty and you get a ton of other stuff. So, hot? Did you go on your bike ride?
2 miles.
What?
2 miles.
2 miles, nice. Yeah, so.
Mom collapsed.
That's not good. I didn't think she should be riding a bike.
No, she can't. She has to.
Oh, she has to?
She just probably didn't need to go 2 miles.
She probably needs more water. Is it hard to... Okay, yeah, I forgot. Sorry. John Kang. Sorry if I get your last name wrong. Is it hard to tune your car yourself? Tuning-wise, you really need to know the software. You need to know the quirks. There's a lot of switches and things in the actual software that you need to change. I think your best bet is, if you're not comfortable tuning, get a tuner like Jules. Jules is awesome. Get your feet in the water, and then eventually you can end up doing it yourself. Flashing. So say, and that's turbo tuning I'm talking about. If you want to do NA tunes, it's really not as difficult. You can do like burble tunes and stupid stuff. It's all free. Really just look through the forums and you can get some good information. But I think the benefit of actually going through and working with a real tuner, somebody experienced, is probably the best way to do it, because you're going to take so much information home that would take 10 times as long to figure out on your own. You're taking somebody with 10 years plus experience with these cars, and then a year plus experience of actually just getting in and tuning and using the software and talking to people and tuning different vehicles. And he'd seen so many tunes because he started out tuning by fixing other people's tunes, because he would get a tune and somebody would make mistakes and he would go through and fix it. And you learn a lot. I mean, it's years of stuff. So you can do it yourself. You could learn yourself, but it's going to be a lot harder than just getting a tuner and doing it that way. So, I mean, you can tune the car yourself. It really depends on how far you're going. I need to send logs to my tuner, but you have to pay to use that in BMW Logger. Is there other ways? Are you talking about MS43? BMW Logger. MS45? Can you elaborate what you're using the log? Because what I use the log is I use ROM Raider, and ROM Raider Logger is free, and it's free to download your logs. Actually, what's funny is there's a cool little, I don't have the link anymore, but it's called if you're wondering, it's called LogViewer, logviewer.exe. Just look up LogViewer for MS43. I downloaded it, and basically I take my log from ROM Reader, I transfer it over. Oh, arcade tunes. Okay, so if he wants you to use BMW Logger, he wants you to use that. Unfortunately, he's a busy guy, so whatever he wants, that's what you're gonna have to use to get his attention. He's a cool guy. He does good tunes. He tunes a lot of people, though. That's my biggest thing. Is I don't have a problem with arcade tunes whatsoever. They do cool stuff. You just have to keep in mind that it's a small group of people tuning hundreds of cars. So the wait times are longer. I know some people wait weeks plus to get revisions. Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the common consensus, is you can never get a hold of him. You send him an email. He likes to, I know one time somebody's complaining they couldn't get a hold of him, and he's like, I can't find your email. You never emailed me. So he's a really cool guy, and he does good work, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's no disputing the fact that it's one guy doing most of the tunes, and it's hundreds of people. So maybe he's spreading himself a little thin. I know a lot of people complain, especially for the price. I think for the 500 plus that you're paying, you should really get a one-on-one experience. I'm going to keep promoting my tuner. My tuner's awesome. I called him at 1 in the morning. I'm not even, so I drove to Strats, which is a local meet. Like I said, I was on 69. I was having an issue. I was hitting a wall. I don't know what it was. I couldn't get into boost, and I wanted to race. I wanted to do some races. So I call him, and he said he was going to bed at like 10. I call him at 1 in the morning. Hey, dude, my car's acting up. Like, I really want to be able to drive it. He went, all right, whatever. And then he went on, made me a 56 tune. I flashed it. I drove around. He made me a revision within an hour, and I was racing. I ended up blowing an intake boot off and losing the race, and then I won against a 335 later that night. But I can't promise that kind of experience with him. But he goes above and beyond, and he does it as a hobby rather than a career. And so he really enjoys doing it. So it's something we will talk for hours on, like, unfortunately for myself, because I'll get carried away and he'll get carried away. The video took us 6 hours. It was 6 hours we took to sit down and make videos. Only like 2 or 3 hours is usable because we would just tangent so hard. We would just start talking about a bunch of different M54, like random information that might be useful. But I need to somehow edit it and condense it into a very easy to intake video, so that it's not like you're watching just years of information scattered around. I want it to be more focused on each video. That's why I didn't make just one long video. I want to have bite-sized things so that you guys can just get the information you need on turboing and injectors and maths and stuff like that. But I think that for a remote tuner, I think the benefits of having a smaller guy do it, in terms of personal relationship and communication, far outweighs maybe the benefits of his experience. I'm not gonna put down arcade tunes. I'm nowhere near the tuner. I'll never be the tuner he'll ever be. I'm not even a tuner. He's got years of experience and hundreds of cars. But for MS43 specifically, Alex Fuller is probably the best tuner you're gonna get. If not one of the best tuners. And he's he helps develop MS43, so you can thank him for many of the things you guys can do. All this stuff is free because somebody took the time to develop it. So, is the E46 a good platform compared to a lot of other budget cars? You keep asking me questions that I answered in my video. That's kind of cool. So, it's a great platform. It's a good car. It's a good all-around car. BMW did a really good job. They accidentally made a gem. It does have flaws. It does, but for the price, I paid $300 for mine. You can get them for under $3,000 all day. They come with a good engine. They come with a good transmission. If you get anything but a get rag, anything other than a get rag will hold power. Like, there's a lot of cars you have to upgrade the trans. You can hold power. You can get a clutch for $280. My clutch kit, the entirety of it was $280. It held 11 psi, ED5, GT35, no problem. Transmissions are $300, and they hold 500, 600, 700 wheel. I've seen up to 900 wheel. The BMW ZF that comes in 330s has been in the low 9s in an E30. A third gear tends to break when you're 900 horsepower on a track, slamming it into third. Unfortunately, but for a $300 transmission to go 9s in a manual, that's pretty good. So you get a good transmission, you get a good engine, you get good fuel economy. It's a good handling car. The 330 really does handle well. It's not like a amazing car. The M3 is gonna out handle it for sure, but it's a lot of car, especially if you're new. So like if it's your first car and you're getting on a track, the 330 is gonna be a little more than you can handle. It's not gonna be hard to drive, but you're not gonna outlearn the car very quickly. You're gonna learn the car. You're gonna have fun with it. It's really not gonna be like you get behind the car and you get bored of it right away.
Do you want to share hibachi?
So yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Filet mignon or chicken? Or both?
Both.
Both?
Both. Teriyaki chicken though. That sounds really good. No teriyaki chicken? Okay, regular chicken. Filet mignon though. That sounds good. Sorry. We're gonna order food. Very good chassis, very good car. It does have its faults, but for the price, I can't complain. It's a good daily driver. It's a good track car, good drift car. It's an okay drag car. I mean, you can do it. It's a phenomenal street racing car. So if you're doing roll races, like a 60-year-old with a GT35, you know, eBay turbo kit, and you're smacking. I was beating Mercedes C450 is a $66,000 car, and I was beating it. It's got an automatic trans. I was manual. So there's a lot to be desired in the car. And like I said, it has its faults. For the price, I think the price point's the biggest thing to drill home. It not only is cheap, it's cheap to repair, it's cheap to replace. You know, you can get an engine for, buddy found one for $150, like overnight. Like, and it's not like you might find one for $200. It's you'll find them from between $200 and $500 like that. Every junkyard carries an M54. They made millions of these cars. So, you know, when you can find part outs left and right, when you can find these parts, and every parts store carries parts, like, it's a great car. So, you know, I mean, a Civic is fun. I mean, there's other comparable cars, but it's rear-wheel drive. It comes with a good transmission, comes with a good engine. It's got okay diff, okay axles. I mean, you might break them. You weld the diff. The only fault, I think, is LSD solutions are really, really expensive. It's either M3 LSD or $1,000 diff. So I think they just started doing, like, you can kind of modify the stock medium case for LSD. This is $500. Are there any downsides to tuning a car? I mean, not really. If you do it right, you can tune for a multitude of things. So, like, if you want to tune the car for fuel economy, you can actually get more fuel economy. If you want to tune it for power, the stock tune on NA, so it's a completely stock 330, they run fairly lean. So adding some fuel alone can improve power, and maybe cost economy, but you know, you're not gonna do anything detrimental to the health of the engine. If the car is tuned properly, tuning it, adding power is really not gonna damage the engine. One thing, and this is all gonna be in my video, so if you guys want more information, if you want a more coherent video, I will be making them, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna keep drilling that because I'm gonna spend like 6 hours editing in a couple hours. But one of the cool things is with a turbo, you're not sacrificing much economy. You can get just the way the engine is designed, and my tuner explains this very well. If you put like a turbo kit, and your city mileage might not change, but my tuner was getting 40 mpgs with this turbo car. Like, if you're driving like a dick, obviously it's not going to get good gas mileage, but if you're just cruising on the highway, I was probably getting 30 mpg with the 85, or sorry, like 25 mpg with the 85, like 30 mpgs with 93. I didn't do the math that many times. I did it once or twice, but I was not burning through gas very quickly. So, I mean, if that's something important to you, like if you want to turbo the car and have a car you can drive to the city, drive out in the country, drive on the highways and not waste gas like a V8, you have that option. You have a nice, reliable, cheap inline six that has good gas mileage and can make good power, and I think that's a great engine. It's a great chassis. For sure, my car has been turbo for a year now, and it still goes rich and breaks up. So that sounds like a tune issue. Oh yeah, RK Tunes. Ooh, dude, if it's breaking up, please, honestly, try and get a hold of him. If you want, you can try and message Jules. He might help you out. He might give you a revision or two. But that's really unfortunate. Your car should have no issues. If you're paying for a tuning package, you should be able to, within a year, have a very good, reliable tune. If your car's breaking up, in the long run, you could damage things. I mean, misfires can lead to head gasket issues because you're overpressurizing the cylinders. When you misfire, you could very well possibly do that. my friend's Mustang, the reason it blew a head gasket, it blew a slight leak. Albeit he misfired really hard under a ton of load. He's supercharged. Ton of load, he misfired it, blew a head gasket. And that could happen. That could damage things. I mean, you probably won't bend a rod, but it's a possibility. If you're running rich, you're being robbed of power too. If it's going rich and breaking up, So I mean, try and get a hold of him and go from there. But I mean, you paid for the Arcade Tunes package, so you're pretty much gonna have to stick with that, unfortunately. $1,500. Yeah, it's pricey too. I'm not saying you will get this, but I paid under $500 for my tuning package, and you know what I mean. And that's like, I don't have a problem. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Arcade Tunes. He's a good guy. He does good tuning. I know Cameron ran 9s on a stock M52. Like, yeah, he did, built automatic trans, built auto trans, but dude, he's using a stock junkyard engine, and Arcade Tunes is able to push him there. I think Arcade Tunes, from what I heard, he pushes it a little much. I've seen some not questionable things, but he's human. Everybody's human. You can spread yourself too thin. I'm not gonna hate on him for it, but when you have people telling you, and you're not the first one. A friend of mine who now has a 135. He had an E46. He said that he got his original tune. He was waiting for a revision. It took over a month, I think, and he ended up getting into a car accident. Somebody hit his car, and it got totaled before he could even get a revision. That's not his fault, Arcade Tune's fault, but it's just funny that the car was gone before he got a revision, and it was enough time that the $1,500 tune package is like, is it really worth it? I have an auto 330. I don't know if I want a manual swap or just buy an M3. Manual swap it. You can do it pretty cheap. What I mean by cheap is I bought a parts car for $300. I sold the engine for $300, and I took the entire swap, the trans, pedals, everything. I put it in my car. So I came out even, if not made money. You could probably do it for $300 to $500. I know people part out cars. They'll sell the whole swap kit. So would Alex be able to help me then, or would you recommend waiting for a revision? I would wait a little bit for a revision if you can't get a hold of it. Alex is very pricey too. He's a little less than that, but he runs a shop, so I could give you his information. If you want to, look up Alex Fuller on Facebook. I wouldn't try and spam him with stuff, but if you're seriously interested and you do have the money and you want a really good tuner, Alex Fuller is going to be really good. Unfortunately, you're going to be spending double the money now on tuning because of Arcade Tunes. I would wait for a revision. You already spent that money. You're probably not going to get it back, unfortunately. I mean, you could try, but 40, yeah, just the way the engine is. I mean, if you're driving normal, I think it was somewhere upwards of 38. Don't super quote me. It was high. It was right around 40. Max I ever got is like 22 mpg highway. Yeah, I mean 330s can get anywhere from 22 to 25, but with a turbo, that really changes it up. You're not going to get such good on a stock turbo car only because of the way it is, but you've got a high compression car that's turbocharged. It's going to roll down the highway pretty easily. Top 3 ways to boost horsepower. Turbo, supercharger, nitrous. You can't make all that much NA power cheaply on an M54. The M54 is not a great NA engine. It's a great NA engine in its stock form, but it's not great for trying to make power. The S54 is a little better. It definitely makes a lot more power. But for the M54, you could do like a small nitrous shot. 50 shots, probably the most I would do. I know people have done upwards of 100 shot. I would do maybe like 100 shot. 100 horsepower. You're around 300. It's fun. It's cool. Maybe a little less. Superchargers, you can get them fairly cheap used. You can be around the 300 to 400 horsepower range depending on what supercharger kit you get, what kind of tuning, fueling you get. That might be a little cheaper. But nothing beats a $100 turbo, $100 turbo manifold, $150 mount, and then free ECU, and then you get a fairly good car. Other than that, Jules, my tuner, might be able to give you the best advice in that situation. Actually, I'll text him right now. I'll ask him what he thinks you should do. Tips and tricks to source good deals for the build. Facebook Marketplace I don't even touch Craigslist, honestly. I use Facebook a lot. Facebook Marketplace has been godly. Go on like E46 pages, E46 turbo pages, and then use the actual Mike Dodge was a lot of my turbo parts, a ton of them. And I mean, it was just, you don't necessarily have to get a stupid good deal. It could be as much as, you know, buying a brand new CX Racing, or not brand new, but a couple miles on a turbo, CX Racing turbo kit, and you're cutting off a few $100 discount just by buying it used. And at that point, I mean, you might sacrifice some time, but the price you pay, I think used parts, if you buy the right used parts, it's phenomenal. I bought a genuine wastegate for the same price as an eBay one. I got a, what is it? Turbo Smart 45 HD wastegate for $100. It's a $450 wastegate. eBay wastegate's like $100 or something, 50 to 100. You know what I mean? So like you get such a better product, even if it's a little worn down. It's probably gonna perform better than eBay wastegates. I think are probably the worst thing you could buy. They work for how long? I don't know. Wastegate, injector, MAF, those are things I wouldn't cheap out on, unfortunately, because that's just the big important parts. Luckily enough for us, we don't have to worry about tuning. We get a pretty good ECU from the factory. Facebook forums, yeah. Facebook.
Pick it up at 4 o'clock.
I have to pick it up?
Yeah.
What time is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Delivery is like an extra like $7.
A whole $7.
I was not paying. Do you want to pay an extra $7?
I mean, can you ask them to deliver it? That's
No,
fine.
I already pressed pick up.
Okay, I'll pick it up. Wait, where? Probably Kobe. Okay. Yeah, so I use Facebook a lot. Look around, have money already. It's hard to have money aside. The thing I'm doing, and it's stupid to admit, but there were such good deals. I kept spending money I didn't have. Try not to do that. Try not to rack up credit cards. Try to spend money and put money back. This time around, what I'm doing is monthly, I'm gonna have $500. And that $500, I will not spend more. If I see a good deal, I have money, can spend it. I'm trying to eliminate me overspending and maxing credit cards because it took me a couple months to pay down those credit cards and I'm still paying them down. So yeah, the reinforced oil pump off Mike, and he's a good guy. Yeah, he's awesome, dude. He gave me so many good deals. And the reason he gives me good deals, he'll hold parts for me, and that's because I literally our messages go like this. For sale? Yeah, okay, I'm sending the money. For sale? Yeah, okay, I'm sending the money. Like, I bought so many things from him. It's awesome, but he continuously gives me good deals. I bought a clutch kit from him, the Tilton. I gave him $1,200, and he got it shipped out right away, and I don't regret it. I ended up reselling it because I decided to part out or whatever. But he gave me the invoice. It was like $2,600 or something for the clutch kit. He sold me an IRP version 2 shifter, like perfect condition, and the clutch kit for $1,200. So I sold the shifter for $200 in 15 minutes. I put it up, it was gone. And then I sold the clutch kit for like $1,100, $1,200 or something shipped. I'm trying to. That's not like what I bought him, but you know, his deals are phenomenal. He most of his parts are gone because he's going DCT. So now that his new car is coming together, most of his old parts are gone. But definitely finding people like that, people in the community that are changing their setup, you're gonna get really good deals. Or people like I said, my friend was going to Brazil, so he ended up parting his car out. He had a bunch of brand new parts, and he sold them for a discount. And so you basically, they sold overnight. He had Porsche GT2 injectors, the same ones as mine. He sold them for $280 or something, like brand new, $280. It was like a stupid deal. You know, they sold in 15 minutes. 20 minutes, like they were gone. He literally texted me, he's like, hey, would they work M50 intake manifold? Somebody's wondering. I said, yeah, and then the post was updated, sold. You know, he ended up selling an entire turbo car for nothing. And then you're gonna have some competition. That's why you gotta look out, and you gotta look often. If you have the time, I mean, there's a lot of time right now because of what's going on for some people. Not everybody has time, but definitely look out because you're not the only ones trying to do it. It's becoming more mainstream. You know, the more people get M54s, not necessarily because they know it makes good power, but a lot of people are buying E46s and they got some extra cash and they want to make a little more power, and the easiest way to make more power is with the turbo. So a lot of people are trying to do it. We're lucky the CX Racing kit's a pretty good deal. Not everything in it is great, like I said, but it's better than some other chassis get. So Oh yeah, I'm gonna text my tuner, ask a question. Any other questions? What clutch kit did you use for your build? So originally, the only one I ran is the FX Racing Stage 3 eBay kit, and I loved it. Dude, it was great. It was $280 for the flywheel and single mass chromoly flywheel, which is great. It's just a piece of metal. The flywheel you really don't have to worry about. Chromoly is great. Aluminum can get hot and warp. You can have issues. Chromoly steel, pretty good. Easy to make, easy to manufacture, pretty cheap. $100. But it came as a kit though, so $280, and then you get a 6-puck clutch and the pressure plate, and I put it together and I was probably around 400 wheel, and the way I've come to that conclusion is power to weight with the cars I've raced, my logs, airflow, etc., boost, referencing other cars. So, I mean, I've seen it hold over 600 wheel horsepower drifting. I've seen it hold, the guy drifted for, I think he had it for 3 years. You know, for $280, you can't beat, $280, you can't beat that. I mean, the drivability, the clutch is a little stiffer. The drivability isn't as different, though. I didn't mind it at all. What, does your tuner have a page you can share? Let me find the link for the clutch first. His name is Jules. Jules... Mariutti on Facebook. He doesn't specifically have a page. He's getting that together. Like I said, he's still fairly new. He's been in the community for a while, but him actually building his own tunes and doing that, he's fairly new. So that's his name. I mean, you know, shoot him a message. Try not, I sound like kind of like rude. Try not to waste his time. So like, if you do want to tune, be upfront. Be upfront about what you want. He might give you advice, but he does talk to a lot of people and he does give a lot of advice to people. So much so that, like I said, consulting services now cost money because he'll spend, and an explanation makes sense. When you spend 6-7 hours with a person one-on-one, and then he's had it happen a handful of times where he'll help somebody develop a turbo kit, give them advice, and then they go, okay, well, I found somebody to do the tune for $100 cheaper, bye. You know what I mean? That sucks. It just hurts him as a person, hurts him, and he's happy to give out that information, but I'm more of a YouTube channel, and I do this on purpose. I wouldn't call it a business, but he has to make money somewhere. This time matters, and you know, in his eyes, if somebody is interested in a tune and they make that interest known, and then he helps you put something together, and then you end up, you know, going with somebody else, it just kind of sucks. I'm not saying you're gonna do it. I'm not saying any of you would, but you know, wasting time sucks. So if you are very serious about a tune, I would message him. I'm also saying that not to like. I just don't want me to be sending a bunch of people over just to ask him questions. If you have questions, ask me. I can ask him if it's something I don't know. But if you are seriously interested in tuning, I would go to him. I'd help if he wants. So, okay, my tuner said that RK Tunes guy, he said he'll help you if you want. I told him the situation you're in. He said I'd help. So if you want to send me a message on Instagram, we can start talking a little more about it. He might help you. I don't know if he small fee. It's gonna be literally nothing compared to what you've paid so far, for your entire tune kit. But I'm sure he'd probably be fine with looking at it. Was the M54 reliable boosted? Yeah, but personal mistakes. So a huge part of being turbo is a lot more can go wrong. So you really need to either know what you're doing or take your time and do it right. I didn't do it right. I broke it as a fault of my own, and I'll take it, I'll take full admission of that. The best way I could put it, if you made 400 wheel horsepower and you had a correct tune and all your parts were good parts and, nothing, like, the engine itself probably won't fail unless something else happened. That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you get a good setup, the car will run forever. At 350 wheel horsepower, it'll probably run forever. You could have a 300,000 mile turbo motor, and there's no problem. So it's reliable, but reliable is a very broad term because it depends. I mean, the stock motor will go for 400,000 miles. Add some boost, it might not last as long. I mean, your rings are already deteriorating. The more boost you add, the more your rings are gonna, go away, because you're adding a lot of pressure. Really depends on your power. It depends on your setup. Want to buy a BMW? Me? Want to buy a BMW or you? It depends. If you're asking me, possibly. If you want to buy a BMW, do it. Me? Okay. Give me some info. Just throw some info. While you do whatever, I'm gonna look for that clutch kit. And don't be deterred by the fact that it says E36. I use it on my M54 B30 with a get rag transmission. You could also use it for ZF. The E36 clutch kits work in the E46 is no problem. So let me find it really quick. I just sent the link to somebody else the other day. Right here, $289. FX Stage 3 dual mass. Damn it, no, that's for M3. Sorry, let me find it. Because I keep finding the clutch without the flywheel. Oh, okay, E36. Sorry, I was looking up the wrong thing. Where are you, buddy? Here we go. Yeah, $244 plus $30 shipping. $20 shipping. So it's like $270. I'll throw in the description. This is the Stage 3. It's called PSI, actually. It's all the same stuff. It's all made in the same place. I highly recommend it. Here's that clutch kit. What'd you say? Can I post this? Oh, I can't post the link. The characters are too long for the live stream. So if okay. Hey, that's my face. LOL. So this is what I'm on. If you want to look that up. PSI Stage 3 clutch kit and flywheel. 92.95. It says M50, but this is the exact thing I put on my car, and it was no issues. And then, like, if you do have any issues, I message them, and, like, they would give it. I mean, they got good positive feedback, and I know a handful of people who ran them personally. Supercharged, turbocharged, drifting, and, like, just daily driver. That's exactly what mine looked like. It's a 6-puck, just chromoly flywheel, and then, it comes with whatever. I would probably change out the throwout bearing for a genuine one, and if you can, it's kind of complicated, but try and look into how long everything is, or stacking height. It's called stacking height. So from flywheel to throwout bearing, how like the measurement of that compared to stock, because that could be a reason that some people's throwout bearings go out early. My throwout bearing ended up, I reused my OEM one, and it ended up going out pretty quickly. It didn't cause any issues, but it was making noise within a couple hundred miles because it was old, and I added some extra stress by putting a single mass flywheel and a 6-puck clutch on there. So true, my 330 Ci already at 193 miles, but auto diff swap, so I keep with a 335. I did the auto diff. Oh, so the 346 swap. Nice, pretty good. Use the link shorter or post item number. I just I don't know if you posted that before or after, but yeah. I don't know how to shorten the link. It's some eBay link, so I think I can press share. Mail maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would just look up PSI Stage 3 clutch kit and lightweight flywheel for $92.95, $325. It's all the same stuff, so that's what I used, and it handled the boost fine. I had like no issues with it. I ended up I broke first and second in my car doing a burnout in my because I had a get rag, and I had to start the car from third gear. So from a standstill, I had to drive the car using only third gear. That roasted the clutch. Let me tell you. But the clutch held it. When I took the clutch out, it didn't look that bad. It really, you could tell I was riding the clutch, and I had to because the car would stall if you didn't. Unfortunately, if you watch my Turbo E46 is a monster or whatever, M54, where I do a point of view, that I'm only using third gear, so you can hear it go and then get into gear. So it had a 346, so that helped because I had a manual with a 346, and the turbo kind of helped. But I mean, as you could you imagine driving your car around using only third gear? It's a bit rough. Yeah, I mean, I like the CX Racing kit. Like I said, I'm just gonna I'm late here. Will you upload the stream after? Yeah, I'll let it upload, even though I'm ugly and blah. But I'll let it upload. There's a ton of good information. So if you wanna watch through the live stream, it'll be here later for sure. This is actually getting pretty long, so I probably won't do it for all that much longer. Darn it. Okay. Yeah, I'm live. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna eat soon, so it's almost 4 o'clock already. I got up at 9 o'clock. I went to bed at like 5. My sleep schedule's crap, but I woke up at 9 to record some audio with my tuner to make some videos for you guys because I've been really hyped. I finally got some actual editing software. Nothing crazy. I ended up buying Wondershare Filmora 9 or something, but I was using Video Editor, and I couldn't even overlap. I couldn't separate audio. I couldn't put pictures over audio. I couldn't even edit audio. It was literally video clips mashed together. So now that I can actually sit down and edit, I think I can provide some quality content, and because me and my tuner have pretty good experience, I think, with Turbo E46s and M54 stuff, I think I can provide some really good information for you guys. So I'm really hyped to, split up and make these videos. But, in due time, I'm going to eat and probably edit those, and probably not going to upload. There's probably going to be 5. I think I'm going to do daily or every other day. I'm going to try and edit them all today and tomorrow, and then hopefully, I don't even know what day it is. I've been inside for so long. Hopefully like Thursday or Friday I'll start uploading them, so within the next week to 2 weeks you should get at least 5 new videos with all the information and like I said, the videos are going to be more coherent. They're going to be easier to follow along, hopefully. It's a lot of this just talking, but between me and my tuner. Unfortunately, we do tangent a lot, like I am now. I'm a big talker, so we ended up talking about some other things. I might include that. I might cut it down really short. But like I said, I have 3 hours of audio to edit through. So what I think I'm going to do is just have some background gameplay of like Forza or like Need for Speed or something stupid. And then I'll post it, like whenever we talk about something, I'll put a picture of it as a reference, and I'll put some text and make it pretty easy. Somebody's got a bike out there. And then, make it a very well edited, hopefully, video that's easy to follow along, but also has something in the background going on so that you guys can just listen and follow along, because I like videos like that. So, install an oil catch can or no. Yes, you can benefit from an oil catch can. These cars have a lot of blow-by, so you'd be surprised how much you'd actually do. I'd recommend it. RK Tunes package did include Bosch 850cc injectors and busting mount. Okay, yeah, I figured it included something like that. It's what the Mustang MAF is the PMAS HPX or whatever. It's like 200 or something, 300, and then the injectors are probably around 400 or 500, maybe more. So I mean, it's a fairly good package. I know he's making a little bit of a profit. Like I said, I've spent under $300 for tuning, so, but like I said, he used me as his new tune, so I mean, you're getting a lot more experience with arcade tunes, but that one-on-one is going to be far better. So he did say he'd help out with you. If you want to send me a message on Instagram, I could probably get you in contact with him. Maybe he could. You can send him a data log, and he'll look over it, see what's going on, maybe give you some advice, possibly. He said he would help out. So that's the extent of what he said so far. He was pretty short, just because I didn't really include much info. I just said he needed some help. So yeah, if you want to message me on Instagram. If anybody has any questions, you can message me on Instagram. I appreciate you sharing my channel around if I do help you out, because I do end up helping a lot of people out, and I want to grow my channel because I want more people to see it, because it seems like there's not a lot of info on this stuff. There is, but it's very scattered and it's very iffy. You have people saying that M54s can't handle 5 PSI, and you have people saying they make 800 wheel horsepower. Like, what do you believe? You know what I mean? So having reputable and very, I'd say, reliable and experienced advice and information is very important. I think my channel can bring that about, especially showing it firsthand, like my turbo build. You can't really dispute the fact that I did it and it made power and it looked pretty quick. You know what I mean? So I'd love to do iron block, M52, maybe B30 internals, and then do like literally turn up the boost and see how much it'll make. There was a guy, dude, super crazy. He took a stock M50 B25. He made over 670 wheel horsepower stock internals, like crazy. He did head studs, head gasket, and he put a 80mm turbo. He stocked Vanos rods. He ended up bending a rod slightly because he ran out of fuel, but he's gonna put it back together, do stock internals, I think, again, add some fuel, do like S52 cams, and he should make over 700 wheel horsepower on stock internals. That's crazy. After finding your channel, I definitely wish I went a different route. Yeah, I mean, my channel could have been laid out better, but I feel as though my experience hopefully will guide others to avoid spending money where they don't need to, or at least, help out in that regard, because following my mistakes can prevent others from making mistakes. I don't think you going with arcade tunes is necessarily entirely a mistake, but, you have good injectors, you have a good math. But, if you really can't get a hold of your tuner, that's unfortunate. I think that a lot of other tuners would be more than happy to help and give you their attention. Like I said, he's a cool guy, but when he works with people like Adam LZ, he's obviously you're gonna prioritize the guy with 1 million, 2 million subscribers over some random guy with a E46. Not to put you down, but you know what I mean. Like, people prioritize, and that's pretty obvious. So I'm gonna end the stream in like 2 minutes. So if you want to throw some different questions down last minute and try and get them in, that's cool. Otherwise, I'm gonna get the food and watch some TV and then edit some videos, because I'm a YouTuber now and I gotta actually have some kind of responsibility, I guess. I gotta be consistent. My channel's all over the place. I'd love to grow my channel to be something great. Not necessarily like, the bigger my channel is, the more people I can help. That's how I put it. Not necessarily just that. It does help me out too, because I know you guys want content and I'm broke. And if I can make content while also earning some money to feed in, you know what I mean? Like, I want YouTube to kind of feed into itself. So like, I build a car. I can use the money from YouTube to help build the car further, because you know what I mean. Like, I don't have much money, and I'd love to focus on cars more, not necessarily for myself, but just for in general. Like, I'd love to take an M54 B30 completely unopened and just see how much it'll make. You know what I mean? Just like throw E85 in it and just see how much it'll make. Put it on a dyno and prove that it makes power. Like, there's not many dyno videos. There are, but like, I would love to put it and prove to people that it's a great engine. UFC stage 4 clutch kit lightweight for 92, 95, 325 M50 will work fine. It should. If it is a complete kit, it will bolt up to the M54. M50 clutch will bolt up M54, and the splines are the same for the transmission. And I was going to use the E36 transmission on my M54, and the M54 uses the same, not the same flywheel, but the same bolt pattern for the flywheel. Like I said, I used a 92 to 95 M50, M52 clutch kit on my car, so it should fit as long as it is for the prerequisites for a clutch kit for E4, like BMWs, mostly M50. If it is a 5-speed, it'll pretty much all work. If it's a 6-speed, it won't work. You need 5-speed for 5-speed, 6-speed for 6-speed. So make sure it says 5-speed. As long as it's 5-speed, it should work up till whatever. Yeah, 5-speed, 6-speed, whatever. That should all work. I'm sure there's some differences. I'm sure there's some things. I know some people had problems using different flywheels with different clutches, but I've never heard of anybody having an issue using an M50 clutch with an M54, and I personally didn't. That's coming from my personal experience, so I don't know if there's any specific differences, and that's why these clutches are so cheap, is because so many people buy them. They're able to just mass produce one type of clutch. And same with the CX Racing kit, is they use the same turbo, they use the same turbo manifold. If they were to option it differently, it would probably cost a little more money because they couldn't mass produce it as cheap as they could. Same with like eBay turbos. eBay turbos are cheap because they make them so, it's quantity over quality, but fortunately you get something out of it. I mean, you can make, 500 plus horsepower and a $100 turbo, and that's awesome. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for sticking with me and wasting like an hour and a half with me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully anybody who's watching this after I uploaded it, hopefully you enjoy as well. If you have any questions, comment down below after the video is uploaded. I'd be happy to answer those questions, or hopefully make a video with my tuner later answering those questions. So if I talked a little fast, I'm sorry. If I didn't get to your question, I think I got to everybody's question. But thanks for watching. If you need to contact me, you can go on my Instagram. It's Chi-Town_Pimmer. Message me there and I'll get back to you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one, I guess.